Wholesaling real estate. Is it good or is it bad? We're going to dive in today deep into the pros and the cons, the goods and the bads, the uglies and the indifferents. That all goes down today on the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Elite Realty Group Podcast, where we are going to bring you the most up-to-date, relevant real estate information you will find anywhere on the planet, and we are glad you have tuned in. We've got a big show for you today. I'm Mike Elkins with Elite Realty Group here in Morristown, Tennessee. Got my partner in crime with me, Mr. Dave Elkins, and we are ready to dive into, could we call it the art of wholesaling?
Maybe the hottest subject going on in the real estate world as we sit here today.
I think that there's no doubt about it. It is literally sweeping, what you would say, across the country. Now, again, we're in Morristown, Tennessee. We see it here. Mm-hmm. Probably not as much yet.
Right, it's coming, though.
As other parts of the country. But I just had a conversation actually this morning about this very subject. So what a better thing to talk about than what is literally sweeping across, and that's wholesaling.
Yeah.
So as we said in the opening, there's pros, there's cons, there's good, there's bad, there's ugly, there's indifferent.
Right.
We're going to dive into that today to hopefully give you, the viewer, the listener of the podcast, information.
Yeah.
So if this shows up in your neighborhood, on your block, you may be a little bit more informed about it.
Right.
Now, this is why I think that this is sweeping rapidly, and it's becoming really popular. Mm-hmm. As far as in our arena, the real estate arena, wholesaling is becoming very popular because I've been on the side of YouTube, I've been on the side of TikTok, I've been on the side of Facebook, Reels, all those things of wholesaling real estate.
Yeah.
And like you see things like this come and go in our industry a lot. Again, this is not anything new, though. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think you got a lot of people talking about it right now because real estate investing is still the greatest investment in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Investing in real estate. And I think you've got a lot of people out there right now that are self-proclaimed wholesalers. There may be self-made, done this themselves. Mm-hmm. But my point is you're seeing a lot of books, a lot of videos, a lot of webinars, a lot of how to get rich in real estate.
Yeah.
And it all revolves around wholesaling.
Yeah. And I mean, let's just be real. There is a lot of people making a lot of money.
There's no doubt.
Doing this right now.
There is no doubt about it. I'm sure we'll get into that part of the conversation, but who don't want to make money?
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. There's no fouls in doing those things. But again, the wholesaling side of real estate, a lot of people just aren't familiar with it. They're either for sale by owner, their house, and they're just going to find their buyer and they're going to sell it and they're going to get a title company and an attorney and all that's going to go, or they're hiring a real estate agent. But now as the wholesalers are popping up, again, just a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah. And we're kind of diving in more of from the seller side.
No doubt about it.
Of the wholesaling.
No doubt about it.
That's what we're going to take a look at.
Because a lot of these places that, and to be honest, it's something that I've tried to read up on just because it's part of our industry, learn more about it because we get these calls like, hey, I just got a phone call. This is how this works.
Yep.
I just got a phone call from this guy in Texas that tells me he's a real estate investor or she.
Right.
Is a real estate investor. And they've offered me cash on my house.
Right.
They want no repairs. They want to close quick. All they're asking for is like this inspection period, but they're not going to ask me to do anything.
Right.
Like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And, you get those calls and you try to dive into it because people calling you knowing you're in the real estate business and they kind of want your input. And there's a lot of gray area there when they are telling you this stuff. Right. So it makes us dive into it and find it out.
I think it's slowed. I think it's I don't know this for sure, but I think that it's not what it was going to be.
Right.
But I think this is such a hot thing that you remember, was it last year that Zillow themselves
Sure.
even was going to try to put their toes in the water
jump
because
into
they was
that.
doing this where they was offering to buy people's house cash,
Jump into that.
no inspections, no nothing.
Yes.
They was going to buy the house.
That's what I'm saying.
Just to do the same thing.
Yes.
So in a sense, Zillow was trying to wholesale.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, again, it's got a lot of people that's wanting to invest in real estate into it because, again, these courses and these things that if you look at it and you say, well, I want to be a wholesaler, they're advertised as, you can buy homes with no money out of your pocket. As a seller, you turn around, flip them, and make all this money. And so it's got a lot of people's attention.
Oh, yeah.
And there are people, as there are in anything, that's grabbed that, the concept of how they're teaching and what they're selling and all that. They've grabbed that and they're running with it.
Oh, yeah.
And as you said, there's people making a whole lot of money with it.
Well, just like anything, there's people that are doing it. I'm talking about all different professions that are professionals.
Oh, yeah.
Like they know how to do it.
No doubt.
They know how to make money from it.
No
but
doubt.
There's also those people that don't really know.
No. They've read the book.
Right.
Or they've watched a webinar.
They're trying to get started in it. So those are the ones.
Yes.
That you might have to be a little bit careful.
You got to kind of watch. You got to kind of watch. So, again, wholesaling is nothing new. But what we're going to dive into is if you're that person, because it comes in the form of someone wanting to buy your house as a wholesaler. It comes in the form of a call. They just call you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. They just call.
I watch a guy on TikTok do it all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like they just call up and they're like, hey, I want to buy your house for cash money. And here's what I'm willing to do. It comes in the form of a call. You may get a really nice letter in the mail. You may get a postcard in the mail, but they do this to get your attention. And they're just wanting to talk, see if can we do a deal. Can we put a deal together here?
Yeah.
It's not that somebody's reach out and raise their hand and like wholesalers are trying to kind of go in and buy on-market properties. They're really looking for off-market properties, the majority of them.
Right.
There's always an exception to that rule, but the majority of them are looking for these off-market properties. And again, that's kind of the approach.
Right. A lot of people, they got access to courthouse records and stuff like that. Anybody can.
Yeah,
public knowledge.
Anybody can get it.
Yeah. So like I saw the guy the other day on TikTok, one of the guys I watched, like he was in wherever, I don't remember where he was at, but this house was like they'd comped it out. They'd done all their numbers on it. This was going to be a $380,000 house.
Right.
He saw that this woman got it through like a quick claim deed. So it was a family that was passed down.
Exactly.
He ended up getting this house for $90,000.
Right.
So big.
That's what I'm saying.
Big money that can be made.
There's money to be made there. So that's why we want to dive into it. Give our listener, give our audience the information about pros and cons of it. Now, as we always say in a lot of stuff that we put out there, we're not financial advisors. We're not investors, wholesalers.
Right.
We're real estate agents in Morristown, Tennessee. But we feel it's our job to educate the public on things that are going on because we do get these questions because people are getting those letters. They're getting those calls. And they turn to us and they're like, hey, what do we got to do? So let's dive into this, pros and cons of it, okay? As you just alluded to, there's different ways people have real estate, are owners of real estate. But I'm going to start on the pro side, the good side of wholesaling, okay? And how you as a homeowner using a wholesaler to be the person that buys your property, how it can be a good thing. Let's start there. All right, let's dive in. So one of the ways that I see wholesaling in a very pro way, a very good way, is if you're a homeowner and you may be in a little bit of financial trouble, you may be struggling financially, you may be up against a foreclosure, you may have a house that needs a lot of repairs, you know what I'm saying? And like it's going to be hard for you to kind of put it out there.
Right.
Ask someone to buy your house that's going to need some type of loan. That there's going to be home inspectors involved, repairs involved, and all that.
Right.
Well, a pro of using a wholesaler is typically it's a quick sale.
Yeah, it usually happens really quick.
Because again, they call and like, I want to buy it for cash. I want to buy for cash. So it can be a very good thing for a homeowner who may be up against those financial problems, troubles. Because you got foreclosure in 2 weeks, in a month.
Right.
You're not going to be able to wait on somebody to get a loan. You got a wholesaler that comes by.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, look, I'll pay this for your house, but it's going to be a quick close.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna pick it apart.
Right.
I'm not worried about any of that stuff.
Right.
You just sell me your house for this amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to dive into that amount of money here maybe in a little bit. But so it's quick.
Yeah.
I mean, who don't want to sell and get cash quick?
Right. Yeah. Again, like you said, speed is the key here. So it's
Mhm.
if you need the cash quick,
Sure.
you don't have time to wait
Right.
for whatever that reason is.
Mhm.
It's usually a really quick process.
Sure.
So sometimes you're talking about a week, 2
Mhm.
weeks,
Absolutely.
and it's done. It's
How
over
quickly
with.
can the title company or attorney get this thing flipped around? That's
Right.
how quick we can close.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, a pro is it's fast, but another pro is that's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
That's convenient to you as a homeowner that looks at it and says, I ain't got time to be diddled down around. I got to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got to go. I got to go now. It makes it super convenient for you to be able to do that. So cash, fast, convenient,
Mm-hmm.
makes everything kind of easy on you as far as that goes. That, again, is a good thing for people that may be in an issue where speed is something that they need. What do you got for a pro? Throw me one.
Just again, we got some notes here, but like you said, the big one is no repairs.
Mhm.
So usually they're not worried about the condition of the house because
No.
again, you got to keep in mind from the selling side,
Right?
they're planning on getting this house.
Sure.
They're going to fix it up
Sure.
and they're going to sell it to make money. That's
I agree.
what they're doing.
I agree.
So they're not worried, that you've got some flooring that's bad. It's that you've got some plumbing issues. That's the stuff that don't really interest them. They don't care.
No.
They're planning on when they're offering you that amount of money, they're planning on that they're going to have to do some stuff.
That's what I was going to say. A wholesaler, typically, I would say the majority of the time, they're not looking at this house as I'm going to live in it.
No.
They're looking at this as an investment.
Right.
And so those things, again, they're not that worried about them.
No.
Because they know if I can get it for X amount of dollars, I can put this in it, I can flip it, I can do many things with it, which in turn is going to make them some money. So, they're going to look over that. Now, on the flip side of that, if you got somebody who's, you're going to put your home on the market, they're going to be getting a loan on it. Depending upon the loan, the house has to be in a certain shape,
Right.
certain things work.
Going to pass.
So you got that you got to look at.
Right.
So again, we're talking about pros.
Mhm.
The good side of using a wholesaler is they're probably not going to care about anything.
Yeah, I mean, we say this all the time. One of the biggest reasons that real estate contracts fall through is because something we talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast, home inspections.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest reasons that it falls through. So
No
in this
doubt.
case, you're usually not having that. Like
No.
you don't worry. They're not worried about that.
No, I agree. So cash, big deal.
Mhm.
No loan involved. I ain't got to worry about it. They're just going to show me they got the funds and we're good,
Right.
which equals quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's all going to happen for you, which is convenient. If you're in that scenario, you fit in that category, you got to go. And no repairs.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't going to ask for nothing.
Right.
Now, if you took the word wholesaler
Mm-hmm.
out of this equation right here at this point, okay? And I mean, you really could leave it in for all, purposes that I'm saying. But as a real estate agent, you hear those words, cash, no repairs, no inspections,
Oh yeah.
closing in 2 weeks, 1 week, however fast. You're like, we got to go.
Yeah. Let's take it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we got to go. That's a good offer. That's a
Right.
good offer. And so that's what I'm saying. People sometimes get scared because it is a wholesaler.
Mhm.
They hear this. We're going to dive into the cons in a minute. But it's not that it's this bad thing to do.
No.
Now, I'm not advocating for it or against it, as we try to say every time we say anything. Real estate, man, and it doesn't matter the part that we talk about. It's so unique to you individually. Like,
Right.
does this fit
You can't throw a blanket over it all.
No.
Because again, like you said, we're going to dive into some cons here in just a second.
Yeah.
But everybody don't fit into that box that they're
No.
wanting that money in a week.
I agree 100%.
You know what I mean? Some people's okay.
I agree 100%. So it's all boils down to individual needs.
Mhm.
What's the scenario you're trying to work through, work around, all of that? It could totally 100% be your work. I'm just saying, You tell me those things, I get that on a written offer
Yeah.
as a real estate agent. Man, we better look at this.
Right.
Does the price fit? Does all the moving? Can you be gone in 2 weeks? Then that's the decisions you got to start making.
Right.
So there are pros to it. Okay.
Yeah.
There are pros to it. So those are speedy sale, convenience, no repairs, no renovations, cash.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's usually
That's
a good thing.
stuff. Let's flip over now to the con side.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about some cons when it comes to real estate wholesaling and things that you see. I'll be nice. Let you go first.
Okay.
Go with it.
Because to me, this is the biggest one.
Right.
This is it right here. Okay. You're typically, the biggest con is that, yeah, it's great. It's fast. It's cash. No repairs.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, the price.
Right.
So the con is that money's not always what you think it should be.
Sure.
Or what it really should be.
Right.
You know what
right.
I mean? So yeah, they're going to pay you cash.
Right.
Just like my example a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
This was a $300 and some $1,000 house.
Right.
Yeah, I got it for $90,000.
Sure.
Now, not everybody's wanting to give their house away.
Oh no.
And don't take me wrong, they're not always
No.
totally lowballing you.
No.
But you might as well go ahead and understand that because it's cash
And it's an investment.
right. These people are planning on making money from the sale of your house when they sell it.
I agree.
It's the only reason they're buying it.
Right.
So that cash is going to be a lower cash offer.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that turns over to what we said a while ago, which is the good side of it. Cash, no repairs, no renovations, no inspections, convenience to you. It's typically going to turn back into what you just said. They're probably going to offer you lower for your house. Then, should repairs be needed or done or whatever,
right?
They're probably going to be able to do it because they're looking at it as an investment. I don't have to buy your house. I'm going to have to invest some money into it to be able to turn around and get what I feel is a top dollar for that house.
Right.
That's probably what's going to happen. Most real estate investors, they're, again, trying to make money.
Right.
So the lower they can get it for,
yeah,
the better for them, right?
Absolutely.
The better for them.
Profit.
Which I think leads to a con I want to jump into is most and a lot of the time you see investors not necessarily willing to negotiate a lot of stuff.
No.
Because they limit those.
Right.
It's kind of one of those, look, I'm going with this, and it's kind of a take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't going to go down no road. We ain't bouncing back and forth. We ain't jumping through hoops.
Right.
Like, this is it.
This is what it is. This is if take it or leave it.
Because they know you got it for $90,000 in an inheritance or a quick claim. They know maybe you're in a financial predicament, that you're in trouble. And if you're either going to get this money from me or you're going to lose it.
Right.
Those are things that you got to say, that's real. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. Not every wholesaler is looking at those individual things, but that's real.
Oh, yeah.
That's all real stuff.
Yeah.
So like the negotiation part of it, a lot of times comes to you. Again, you get that letter in the mail, you get that call, you call that number, you have that conversation.
Right.
And they're like, look, I'll give you this for your house. They're again in another state in instances.
Right.
They're not even going to come and look at it, but they know
right.
on the research I've done in this area, homes are selling for this.
I mean, let's just be honest. They are highly educated, smart people. They know how real estate works.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
They're not going to make a bad investment.
No.
They're not going to do it. They're going to do it with the least amount of risk possible.
I agree.
Okay, so again, that's what they've got. This is their numbers that they've run.
I agree.
This is what they're willing to spend. You either take it or you don't. They'll
I
move
agree.
on. There's more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So you got to look at those sides. That could be a con to you. Now, again, no blanket we can throw over this. This is all individualized. You look at it as a home seller yourself, but you look at typically offers are lower. Typically, they're not coming in with all this negotiation room. It's kind of, look, do it or don't.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, we're calling a neighbor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need 60 days to get stuff out.
Sure.
They're not really interested in a lot of that stuff.
No, it's going to be limited negotiations on those things.
Yeah.
Give us another one.
Scams.
We see this.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. There's professionals,
right,
and then there's people who try.
mm-hmm.
They don't really know how it works,
Right.
but they've read the book,
Sure.
they've watched the TikToks, they've watched the YouTube videos. So you just got to be careful because not everybody really knows how this works.
Sure.
So you just don't want to get yourself in a predicament where you've got your house tied up in something that may or may not be legit. So you really want to kind of vet those people.
No doubt.
What I mean? You want to check them out.
Do some research.
Do a little research.
Check
make
this
sure
out.
that this is a, again, a company that does this or whatever. But, ask questions. That's a good thing. How many of these have you done? I mean, it is what it is. So
exactly.
Ask questions. Find out a little bit about these people because, again,
have you done one locally?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you done this locally?
Yeah.
That way you could even call up maybe the attorney or the title company that closed that locally, owned house, and you could get you some information that way too, to try to find out all this. People really, when you throw the word out scam, and you see social media today, like everybody's getting hacked and scamming this and Bitcoins and all. I mean, you just see so many scams.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you say the word scam, and people, especially in our industry, and people's like, people can scam you out of your house. You'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Like just do a simple Google search right now.
Right.
Okay. Everybody go to Google right now. Check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There are people that get scammed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's not bash a wholesaler because it's not always somebody saying I'm a wholesaler is doing it.
Right. Exactly.
But you got to watch for that in this line.
I don't care what business you're in.
No.
You got to watch for scammers because they're in every business in the world.
You have to watch for it.
So, not just wholesalers.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about here today. So, again, make sure that you're talking to a real legit company, person, whoever.
They can do this.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be real.
Yeah.
That all leads to, I think, the biggest part of what I think when you talk about wholesaling real estate, and to me, the last con of it is lack of transparency. Now, we got to break this down for a minute, okay? So this don't sound like we're bashing, but let's break this down. There are people who wholesale real estate. They buy low, sell high, okay?
Right.
But they buy the real estate. They buy the house as the wholesaler to literally do all of this themselves. Like, I'm going to buy your house low. I've got my crew. I'm going to get it low. I'm going to come in. I'm going to remodel. I'm going to get it up to code, up to everything else, and I'm going to sell high. I'm flipping.
Yeah.
Okay. So you play on a word there, flipper or wholesaler. You could call the same thing, but like they're going to do it all themselves.
Right.
They're going to put their money into it and do it. Then you've got the side of wholesaling that I think is the one that's the most popular right now.
Yes.
This is where the books and the podcast and all this other stuff come in.
We ain't using no money.
We ain't using no money of ours to do this. And here's what happens. These wholesalers come in. This is why, again, they're not worried about your house. They're worried zero about your house. They've got their own paperwork. We've talked about paperwork and contracts on other things. They got their own contracts. They get all this in the packet, right? They get all this from the webinar. They get all this from the book. They call you up and they're like, I want to buy your house for this money. Going to close fast, all these things. This last little part I'm talking about of lack of transparency is what they don't tell you. Is they're taking your house and they're essentially getting it under contract with you.
Right.
Then what they try to do, because they're buying low, they literally try to just sell your house as it sits, or should I say, the contract that they have on your house or your land. We're seeing this in land just as much.
Oh, yeah.
Or your land. So they buy, I'm going to use numbers, they buy your house for $200,000. They try to sell their interest in that contract they have in yours to somebody else for $215,000.
Right.
And they never touch nothing.
Right. They're going to make $15,000 by selling a contract.
A contract.
Yeah.
So that's what, again, when I go back to lack of transparency, that oftentimes is a con because that's not always told up front.
Right. To me, that's, like I said, this is a big one because, like, this is me thinking major difference, because if someone is actually physically going to give me cash money,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
When they want my house, like, you're going to take it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I don't want a contract
Right.
worth this money.
Right.
I want the cash money.
Yes.
So again, that's the transparency that a lot of people, they're not knowing that. They
Uh-huh.
don't really tell that part.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I got a good story on that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we've had this stuff recently happen.
Yes.
So that's a big thing to me, is like, I want to know, do I have to wait on somebody to pay you, or do you have that money?
Absolutely.
That's what I want to know.
We literally just had a past client that we've done real estate deals for. Now, you know, we'll get some kickback on this, no doubt, and that's okay. But we're not, again, I want to make it clear, we're not advocating for or against. We're just giving you the information.
Right.
Okay. We're not wholesalers, by the way. Okay. Yeah. But we had a person who's a past real estate client of ours that they called up the other day. They had the question. They was like, hey, so they inherited this house. Mm-hmm. That was the story. They got it. So somehow wholesalers got a hold. They're like, I got a call about wanting to buy this house I inherited. The offer's kind of low, I feel, but I inherited it. Mm-hmm. Like, I ain't got $1 in it.
Right.
They're wanting to buy my house cash, no inspections. Here's the contract they sent me over. Okay. Would you care to look at it? Well, we're not attorneys. You know what I mean? Like, we can't go down that road.
But I can read.
But I can read. I can read. But in reading that contract, it still didn't really say what they were going to do. But what was glaring to us in this contract was they were buying for cash. Mm-hmm. So no appraisal, no inspections, but they wanted 90 days to close.
Right.
Well, that was a red flag.
Because usually they want to do it quick.
Like, usually you want to go fast here. Mm-hmm. But this particular offer, they wanted 90 days to close. There also was no earnest money that they were putting down. So they like had no skin in the game. So of us looking at it, we was like, well, just to be honest, that's not our contract. If you want to know more, go talk to an attorney. But I'll just tell you, these things stick out to us. Mm-hmm. You might want to have a legal representation go deeper into that. So, but I would ask these questions. If you're cash, no repairs, why are we waiting 90 days?
Right.
So they call back and in the digging and in the asking questions and in their own words, it was like pulling teeth to get this information out.
Right.
But in me asking questions, these people putting this offer, it came back out. They were not they were not wanting to buy my house, so to say, to buy my house.
Right.
They were wanting to buy my house low, mm-hmm. try to then sell to somebody else that literally wanted to flip it.
Right. Yeah.
They wanted to do what we look at as wholesaling and flipping. They wanted to sell it to somebody like that, but make 30 grand, 40 grand, 80 grand, whatever they could in the process. That's why they wanted 90 days to close. Now, this was the whole kicker. In that contract, there was an inspection period, which was 90 days.
Right.
Now, it said, we're not going to ask you to make repairs. We just want the ability to be able to inspect this house.
There's your out.
So there was their out. Should they not be able to find nobody? Because, again, you go back to this, you're seeing this happen. Of course, at first, if they can get your house for $200, they're going to try to sell it for $280.
Right.
But we're getting up against the clock here of this 90 days. Well, if I could sell it for $205, I made $5,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people are going to look at it and say they're going to do that. So again, I think
they don't have anything in it.
There's no skin. They paid no money.
Yeah.
No earnest money. They're just trying to sell the contract. Mm-hmm. That is what is becoming the most popular way that we see what's known as wholesaling.
Right.
That's what I say when I say sweeping the country. Mm-hmm. That's what I say is sweeping.
And again, shooting straight, if done correctly, mm-hmm. It's great.
There's no problems.
It's great.
There's no problems. Yeah. You just got to look at it and probably why are we having this podcast today talking about wholesaling, the pros and the cons? Because there are pros and cons. That's exactly why we're having this conversation today.
Right.
We want people out there, as you've alluded to many times and I have too, people just don't really know when they hear that. they don't really know a whole lot about what's getting ready to happen.
Right.
I would probably, if I was approached, I'd probably ask those questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, how does all this work?
Yeah.
Why are you in Texas and me in Tennessee
Mm-hmm.
calling me, making an offer on my house for something you ain't never even seen?
Right.
You ain't coming to see.
Right.
You ain't, like, tell me the more details of the story. You're probably going to want to check that out.
Right.
You know
Which
what I
is
mean?
kind of leading us for where we're getting ready to go here.
Ended up with some things people can do to protect
we're
themselves.
going to talk about some tips that we're going to give to
Yes.
sellers. Because, again, at the end of the day, we're real estate agents. We represent buyers and sellers.
Absolutely.
So we're going to kind of give some general tips just for the sellers. And one of the things you just said was number one is you, again, just like I said about the scams, you want to make sure that you are kind of doing your research. Okay.
I agree.
Dig a little deeper on the company.
I agree.
Who's buying it, the person, the individual. Have you done anything local where you can call attorneys, title companies, people? Do you have any past clients?
Yeah.
Okay. You have anybody that you bought recently? I talked to them.
Absolutely.
See how the process went.
Yeah.
If they are reluctant about giving any of that information, you know, you might want to reconsider what you're about to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it also leads to, again, I'm pro real estate guy because I'm a real estate guy.
Right.
But do that research. But in that research, don't be afraid to reach out to this podcast heard all around the world. Reach out to a local professional that's in the real estate arena. Get their takes on it. Because just to be honest with you, you probably wasn't sitting at the house the day you either got the call or the postcard in the mail with the thought of, I think I'll sell my house.
Yeah.
You may not even be considering it.
Right.
But that offer of quick close, cash money got your attention. Then it gets your wheels turning. And don't be afraid to get multiple offers.
That's what I'm going to say. If you're deciding to go that route, open the door, man. Let's say, okay, if you're willing to go the wholesale route, you're doing research anyways to find local ones in the area. Yeah. Start calling them, say, hey, I'm considering doing this.
I'm doing this.
Let multiple
people get involved in it because it's probably going to get you more.
Absolutely.
But getting back to the real estate side of it, you know, they're going to be that local person that's going to be able to give you that local market information.
Real numbers.
That's going to be able to tell you, you know, you probably need some repairs. That offer may be low, but here's what's happening in your subdivision, in your neighborhood, on your block. Here's what's happening.
What your piece of land's selling for.
You may be willing to wait 3 months, 2 months, 15 days. Who knows how long it's going to take to sell.
Right.
But a realtor may look at you and say, you could probably get more money than that out of your house.
Right. And because they're going to shoot you straight. You may or may not be able to. They might look at you and say, actually, for what needs to be done, blah, blah, this is not a bad offer.
I agree. So, just going to be information for you.
Right.
Again, and as we said, I said in a recent podcast, realtors are glad to give you information.
Yeah.
If you find one that's not, call another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether that's the price of your house, whether that's should I do these kind of repairs, whether that's what's going to add value to my house, they should be glad to have those conversations with you. Yeah. Again, if you find one that's not, call another one because there will be somebody who's out there to do that. So again, getting back to us, wrapping this whole thing up, pros and cons of wholesaling. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Do your research. See if it fits in what you needed to do. Because again, we can't throw a blanket over all this and say, well, don't do that. It's, you're going to get took. Or do that. It's the best deal in the world. You got to just know how it works, why some are doing it. Again, there's many different ways that people do what we call wholesaling real estate. Right. Okay? Just do the research yourself. Yeah. Figure out, does it work with you? But hopefully these pros and cons have just gave you a little bit more information to get you on down the road should you be approached. Because chances are, if you've not already been, you will be. Yeah. You will be. Because again, I cannot tell you, as you said, you watch them do it on TikTok all the time. That's what I'm saying. I've been on those sides of TikTok of this being taught. I mean, they sell out hotels and, banquet rooms all across this country teaching people how to do this with no money out of their pocket. Right. So there's all different versions of it. Just make sure you know what's going on in
Big
yours.
word, research.
Yes.
Do your research.
I agree 100%. That does it for us today. We thank you for listening or watching this podcast brought to you by your friends here at Elite Realty Group in Morristown, Tennessee. Wherever you're watching or listening, make sure you hit that subscribe, follow, or like to be notified when new episodes do hit, as we do these weekly. You may watch these on our clips, on some of the shorts we do on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and all those places that are out there. We're just glad you took time out of your schedule today to watch this. That does it for us at the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Until next time, we hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you, or you'll listen to us upcoming very shortly. You all have a good day.